Here we go then. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited to be joined by Jamie on a long-term contract and Louis, you're back. Here we go then. So how are we doing? You both good?
All good? All good. Ready to go.
Ready to. And today we've got some juicy topics for you. We're going to talk about Mo Salah and that £200 million bid rejected by Liverpool, which I'm really excited to get into. We're also going to talk about Sancho and Manchester United, what's going on there. And we've got Tom's teaser, a hard question each week. I'm going to see if you can get a point on the board. We've also got Louis' rant. Louis is going to rant about something. It could be Chelsea. And obviously, we know what I feel about Chelsea. And we're going to see Jamie as a neutral, what you think about it. Then we've got a £10 best bet. We're going to see who can make the most money with the bookies. I've seen the bets so far. I think I'm going to win quite comfortably, but we'll soon find out. And then we've got the quiz. There'll be 5 questions later. We know Louis is good at quizzes, but Jamie, can you keep up with him?
Already concerned.
Already, because I would be already concerned. There's 5 questions. The pressure's on you, but you can do this, okay? I think you got this. But let's get straight into it. So we're going to talk about Mo Salah. £200 million rejected from Liverpool for a 31-year-old. Let's go to you first, Jamie. Right decision from Liverpool?
I think so. Not only is this out of the window, Liverpool can't replace him, but I'd argue he's irreplaceable anyway. 31 years of age, yes. Last season, some were saying he was disappointing on his way down. Still got 19 goals in the Premier League alone. 8 goals in 8 in the Champions League. You just can't replace that. Look like, we'll come on to Chelsea later with Mudryk, Arsenal, Nicolas Pepe. You can go and buy an expensive winger. But are they going to pan out? It's a massive risk. And yet, 200 million, but listen, Liverpool are a huge club. Do they need that money? Yes, they could invest well, but we've seen before in the past, they could invest badly as well. So there's no guarantees if you take that money, you'll find someone better. And yeah, Salah, 31, is always a risk keeping him for that money. But look at that production. I mean, that 19-goal season, he's never scored less than 19 goals. That's his nearest scoring season. That's arguably put you in a golden boot conversation.
Lowest scorer season, exactly, is on the decline, maybe.
It could be, but
we maybe know I'm going. Well, before we go to myself, Louis, where are you on at this point?
I do agree with Jamie. I think with those 31 players, 31's not the same as it used to be like 10 years ago. And they're playing, you see, Thiago Silva is playing 39 years still. Wingers he obviously looks after his body. He's a good athlete and everything. I think for Liverpool, they didn't need to accept it on the last day. Like, they couldn't do anything. If they accepted it, they would have been a bit screwed. I think if they reject it now, they know probably going to come again next summer. They can plan, get the director of football in. I know they kind of have one at the moment, but they also don't really. They need to plan well, replace him, and then might not be 200 million, but they'll still get quite a lot for him next season, and then they'll have time to do the right thing after that. I think there's no point in them accepting it now.
Okay, so that's, you both think they shouldn't have accepted it. I'm on the other side because I think they've made a huge mistake. There's no way they're going to get 200 million next summer, okay? It's going to be massively down, we know that. They've got money. You don't know how long they've got money for. Liverpool need a rebuild. They need a right back to compete with Trent. They need a centre half that can stay fit. They are leaking goals and chances. They didn't even buy a CDM, right? Yeah. They are so weak at the back. Now, when Liverpool sold Coutinho for 140 million, they've got an Alisson, they've got a Virgil van Dijk, and they compete at the top level. At the moment, there's no Champions League football. They are struggling. And does Mo Salah not deserve the move? He wants to go, 200 mil. That's crazy. The owners don't spend money. We know that. Their net spends not.
Just like to say one thing. Do we know Salah wants to go? He's never said anything. Why would he want to go?
Well, he's entourage. He's not said anything, but I think
why
it's very clear. When rumours come out of camp, there's no, it's
I think he would accept it, but I don't think he clearly doesn't actively pushing to go.
Yeah, he's got too much.
What's the playing in the Champions League? He loves the records and stuff like that. I'm not sure how many goals on now for Liverpool in the Premier League, but he'll be very high up the list of all-time Premier League top goal scorers. So I think it's more Liverpool would actually rather be pushing him to go next summer rather than him wanting to go if they get a huge bid.
But let's talk about the player, right? There's no Champions League football this season, right? At Etihad, they won the league last season, so straight away you're in a title. I'm telling you now, Liverpool are going to get nowhere near Man City, right? So he's got Europa League. He probably won't even play much of the Europa League. I know he stays fit, he looks after himself, but Jurgen Klopp's going to prioritise the league. How long do we think Jurgen Klopp's got left? I'm a big believer that I think this will be his last season because I don't believe they can challenge about the spending anymore. I think the Premier League's just got too high. Liverpool, the owners, are not spending. The net spend's so low. And I just think the player deserves... I know he says he's not come out. I don't think Salah would ever do that. But this season is a bit of a free hit for Liverpool. If they finish fifth...
That changed next season. You know, he's all about like the Saudi club's success. But like Salah can comfortably go after the season or after next season even, and they're probably in the same position. The Saudi League's even bigger, perhaps.
I know they're always going to go for him.
Yeah, but how
player he's going to be? He's like the hot property for the Saudi League, basically. And I don't think they'll ever, if it even 3 seasons down the line, it will still be the same thing, and he'll still get paid a massive wage, whereas he's talking like he's on pennies at Liverpool. Right? Like 350 grand, he's like going to be their highest paid player. Stay in Europe for like another 2-3 seasons, and then you can get that big move.
Well, I was hoping you said that. So obviously he can go to 1.5 million a week, right? And I understand he's on 350. I'd say he's obviously made a lot of money. If you think in your future generations, we look to China. China didn't stay around forever. This money might not stay around. They're trying to buy a lot of things at the moment. They've got, they're looking at Formula One. They've obviously got their hands in the golf. They might get bored. They might not want football. And for Liverpool, this is huge. For him, it's huge. And when the opportunity's there, sometimes you've got to take it. And at Liverpool, if you're not achieving and you're not competitive, as a player, that's frustrating. And Liverpool have ready-made replacements, and they need 3 or 4 players to compete against.
That is the only thing I would say. Liverpool, when they had their Michael Edwards, their director of football, they like planned everything well. They knew who they were going to get. Klopp didn't want Salah. He wanted Jurgen Brand, and then look how that could have been such a big difference. Since then, like last season, their spending was so bizarre. They've got like 6 attackers. They had Jota, Salah, Firmino, Gakpo. I'm missing one. Diaz. Yeah. They had like 6 players for 3 positions they were playing. They kept on buying more attackers instead of buying centre midfielders. And now I know they've bought 2 this season, but like still they're both quite attacking as well. And they still don't have a proper defensive midfielder. I know they bought Endo, 29, 30 years old, playing in Bundesliga his whole life. So I'm not really sure. I think maybe the money they're going to get from Salah probably won't go to good use like it did before unless they actually plan well.
Have they got the money? I know you said they buy a lot of attackers, but like you said, they need this injection quickly. And if they want to keep Klopp, let's be honest, he's the best pound for pound manager in the world for me. I believe, because I don't believe Pep could do what he's doing with Liverpool, and I think he produces these players and he makes them so much better. But you only get Klopp's, they're generational. If Klopp, there's a Klopp left tomorrow, they're not getting another Klopp. They will go through transition like Man United, like Chelsea. We're going to later. And they will go through transition, they'll change managers, and they will not be a top 4 club for much longer if they continue the way they're continuing. This is why I believe I know that might have actually pushed Klopp over the edge, but if they can't continue the spending, they will fall behind.
That's true, and you wonder whether they would take over rumours in the summer, right? And you wonder where that goes. And I think Klopp's thinking of now, he wants to keep Salah, and he mentioned the word competitive, and that for Liverpool, that means keeping Salah. For Salah, you think, you won't stay at the top of the game, and that isn't in Saudi Arabia. That you see that with Mbappe, or the opportunity to go there. These top athletes want to be the most competitive. They want to win the biggest prizes, and that is not in Saudi Arabia right now. And also a big thumbs up to Liverpool for middle finger to Saudi Arabia.
No, I think that's quite important. I do agree. I think it's important that they have done that, and I think it's very Liverpool traditions they've done that. But will that hurt them long term? And also, I want to hear from you. Any Liverpool fans? Am I talking rubbish? Are Louis and Jamie talking rubbish? Would you have taken 200 million? Let us know, because obviously I am very much pro they should have. These things they shouldn't have. Think about long term, think about the project, and let us know your thoughts. That's the first topic. I think we've kind of debated that well. I would love to know the reaction of the people and see what they think. I think Liverpool fans always have that passion, they want to keep him, but obviously we don't know how the recruiters, how they think. But next topic, and this is a really juicy one I'm looking forward to. Louis, it's your time to shine. It's your rant. Now, we're going to talk about Chelsea, but what have you got to say for us?
Well, that's my point, really. My initial point is, with us, everyone is just obsessed with us. Anything we do, more than their own team. We can't buy a player or do anything without someone making some ridiculous comment like, sold a Kante for free to Saudi Arabia. Oh, they must have some connection here. I've got to look into that. When other clubs are selling, players for like 40 million to Saudi Arabia, Yeah. So firstly, everyone's obsessed with us. We need to just relax. I know we're not doing well at the moment, but the whole point of this project, which I don't really like to use, is there's clearly a plan. We're buying all young players. I think we've got the youngest average age in the Premier League now. Against West Ham, I think 13 of our 20 players were under 22 under, and that's including Thiago Silva, which is the oldest outfield player in the league. So we had to completely revamp the whole squad. We've got rid of, I think it's basically everyone other than like Reece James and Thiago Silva, who won the Champions League, Chilwell as well, which is going to cost a lot. I know we spent $1 billion now in three transfer windows. Oh, people also forgetting we've sold the most by far. I've sold 300 million this year, or 295 million. Things don't just work like that. You don't just start winning straight away because you buy players, especially young players who they're not used to the Premier League yet, which, okay, you can say is a bit risky, but you just got to let it grow. see what Pochettino's going to do. It's been 4 games in now, and I've already seen us in these games. We've been a lot better than we were last season, just fitness-wise, plan. We're just seeing a lot better, and it's way too early to see what is going to happen.
Okay, that's your rant. I'll ask you one question on performance related. Where are you going to finish this season on your rant? You finished now, you're going to finish?
Yeah.
Okay, let me
get Champions League as well.
And get Champions League. I have to start with him, okay? I think what you just said there is an absolute load of rubbish. And let me tell you why they're rubbish. You say there's a plan. There's no plan in place. There's no scouting. You are looking for the best players, and usually they're from Brighton, my team, by the way. And then you just cherry pick. Like Caicedo would take him. Lavia would take him. Lavia for 55 million was a shocking piece of business. I know. You had your run. Let me have my run. Okay? So I don't believe there's any plan. I don't believe you started the season wanting Robert Sanchez in goal. I don't believe you wanted Conor Gallagher starting. I don't believe you wanted Mudryk starting. I was
starting.
Oh, who's on the left was
Chilwell playing left wing.
So again, and that was never the pre-season plan either. So that came in for the first game against Liverpool. Injuries, they say, when you can spend £1 billion on injuries when you have this sort of squad, right? Now let me finish my next part on performance. You have accrued 41 points in 38 games, right? West Ham once got relegated with 42 points. Brighton have beaten Luton this season, so Chelsea, just to get rid of Luton because they're going to lose every game. So far this season, you've lost to Nottingham Forest at home, you've drawn with Liverpool at home, and you lost to West Ham away. West Ham away is a tough place, but you've got 1 point from 3 games. So you're actually we're taking the Luton game away, because I'm sorry, if any Luton fans are watching, they could lose every game. Like, we beat them, that's the worst thing I've ever seen in the history of football in the Premier League. I promise you, we beat them 4-1, they were so bad. Honestly, they're awful. So, performance related, you've got no consistency. Off air, Louis says, we win our next 4 games. If you win your next 4 games, you've got my rant, okay? That's 1 point in 3 games. You're not going to win your next 4 games. You've got to get your head away from this. Your top goal scorer last season was Havertz. You scored 38 goals in 38 games. I look at your team, and that is a good example. You spend $1 billion. I look at Liverpool, look at Man City. I love that player. I look at Chelsea. Who would I want in that team from Chelsea? Starting 11 right now. Okay, Enzo Fernandez. I love Enzo Fernandez. I fit Reece James. We don't want Sanchez. Don't these little players.
Caicedo, your favourite.
Yeah, of course we sold Caicedo. No. Oh, of course we want Caicedo. Of course, yeah, Caicedo as well. But I look at your team and think £1 billion spent, and you look at the bookies, everyone, we're favourites to finish above you, and I just think, wow, where's that plan? That's my rant. We've had your rant. Okay, neutral. We've got to get
No. Let me say something first about the players we're signing. We're not cherry picking the best players. The whole point. That's why you look at our squad and people are like, oh, who's that guy? So we're buying players who don't have a lot of Premier League experience. They don't know what they're like. So people's like, okay, I don't know who he is. Is he going to be any good? Nicholas Jackson, we bought him for 34 million, I think, 40 million euros.
Man.
And look, no one that went under the radar played the first 4 games, and he's a quality. And people were like obsessed with Premier League, and they don't know what players are like in other leagues all the time.
How's that plan going for you?
Well, it's 4 games in. You're wait and see.
What I was is,
if you're a good player, there's a lot of other players just need time to settle. You don't hit the ground running all the time.
No,
Happens with loads of teams.
I agree, but let's suppose when you have a plan, the number one rule of football is to score goals, right? And you can spend 50 million on this defender, 70 million on this defender, 110 million on a midfielder. You need to score goals. Your top goal scorer last season was Havertz.
Yeah, we got thinking top goal scorer of the Bundesliga. 2 years. Then you're not
Old player who got injuries.
Yeah, well, that's the big.
If Jackson got injured tomorrow, who plays up front?
We got Rosa.
Is he good enough?
Well, he was good.
Be honest, is he good enough?
Well,
I was for £1 billion allows you back up. Let's go to Shane here.
A good divorce lawyer.
Yeah.
Are you an immediate? Immediate. I think you're both right. I think Chelsea are way overspent. I think early on in Bowley's reign, he's panicked a little.
completely agree.
Spent too much. He's looked at who other big teams have pounded and then tried to blow out the water. That was a big mistake. And last year was a clear example. Too many people got players changed in the corridor. An impossible situation for however many managers they were last season. A disaster. But I'm going to side with Louis a little bit. When I came into the season, I thought somehow Chelsea have ended up with a decent squad with a good future. For me, I think they trimmed well. Last season, there's so many players, it was a car crash. They have got a good squad now. But the big question is, how long does it take to sort it out? There is the Poch factor. He's a very good manager, no matter what you think of him. He's a very good manager. A much better manager as well than some of the people who did before. Lampard, Potter, etc. So, there's promise. I think with like the likes of Mudryk, a lot is going to depend on these players. Are they going to pick up? We've seen little tiny flashes of quality, but are they going to deliver week in, week out for a club like Chelsea? That's where the answer is going to come from. Can Pochettino get the best out of these players? We know Chelsea will spend on most of them. They're going to lose money in the long term. Look, that's what happens in the Premier League. Very few players, very few clubs make profit. I know Tom's going to say something about that. But there is promise. Like you said, Ingram goes out injured. Nicholas Jackson, who, I'm a Villarreal fan, I've seen him. He has got a lot of quality. There are a lot of young players with quality, but it's going to be about how they manage these players, how they get the best out of them, how do they keep more happy as well on these long contracts. That's going to be a big question down the line. Chelsea's a massive question mark. I don't think any of us can say with certainty whether they're going to be any good or any bad. They've been okay. There's some signs of progress early on, but not enough to get results. Can Poch turn that around? It's going to be a very competitive Premier League from second down, probably. And listen, I think they qualify for some sort of Europe this season. I think the Poch is a good enough manager to do that. And also the fact that no European football this season, that's a huge advantage when you got clubs like Brighton in for the first time. Not the same level of depth as well. I know, Tom, I know. They fight in back from that. But listen, I honestly think it's somewhere in between. And we may have to see where the chips fall on that.
So let me put that. So you think they'll finish fifth? You think that? Okay. And where do you think Chelsea will finish right now next season? This season, sorry. They will finish.
I think without the Champions League football, without any European football, I'm going to say fifth. I think other teams, you look at the other teams.
We are now going to apply for 2 new hosts because these two have lost their minds. I am telling you now, Chelsea will finish between 12th and 8th because they are an average.
It's on tape.
You can't lose a game, win a game, draw a game, then lose a couple, draw, lose, win. You're so weak away from home. You don't score enough goals. For me, but in the camera, Chelsea will not get European football next season. You've had it here. And it wouldn't even surprise me if the Pochettino came in a bit early. Don't think it will. I think you get a free hit this season. But what I've seen so far and what I think of the tactics and what I've seen, they're spineless, they are weak, and they're relying on a lot of players that I don't think are good enough. And I think it's only a matter of time before Chelsea fans start turning on Sanchez, Colwell, even Silva maybe. He's, as you said, the oldest outplayer. He's 38 years old and 11 months.
I think he will be phased out.
Yeah, I think so.
If he's phased out, but then you have to see phased out for who. And Louis said the plan is for someone to come in. I don't see that plan personally. I look at their team and just think, where are the goals coming from? Obviously, Sterling has started the season well. Jackson started the season well. Jackson has 1 goal. And it was a penalty against Luton. And we've already agreed that Luton doesn't. Also, but we've already agreed that Luton does not count this season. So he's on 0 goals in 3 games. But I think that's another Chelsea. I think it's fair to say that you two think they're going to finish 5th.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think they're finished 12th to 8th on the camera. Okay? Right, that's enough of Chelsea now. Okay, I'm sure they'll sneak back in at some point, but no more Chelsea chat. Now, before we talk about Sancho, it's time for Tom's teaser. Right, here we go. So how this is going to work, I've got a quiz question for you both. It's hard. How the rules are simple. If you guess, you're frozen out, okay? I'll give you one guess each. If I'm generous, I'll give you another guess. Now, Tom's teaser is one question. It is a tough one. I'm hoping you both get it wrong, if I'm honest with you. So, the question is, if you think you know the answer, jump in, okay? Now, the oldest outfield player to play this season has been Thiago Silva. 38 years, 11 months old, respectively. Only one other player is 38 years old. Do you know who that player is?
I think I do.
You think you do?
James Milner.
James Milner is the guess. It's locked in.
Oh, I think that could be it, to be honest.
I can't. Tom's teaser has Jamie. Before I give the answer, say else, give yourself pause if you want. Well, let's make it more dramatic, actually. James Milner, incorrect. We're frozen out. If you're watching now, have a think about it. You want more time? Press the pause.
Okay.
Oldest, 38 and 1 month.
As we'll establish, it's not the Chelsea player, it's the youngest squad.
Yeah, we'll be able to say that. It's not a Chelsea
I
player.
just want to say sorry, James Milner.
Yeah, it's a James Milner.
I don't think younger than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around for like
It's not the oldest squad. No, it's a West Ham player. He's outfield player.
an outfield player.
If he comes back, I'm going to say yes.
You all know the player very well. But I'm gonna push you for time.
Okay.
So yeah, but you're really happy if no one gets Tom's teasers right.
No, it's
Outfield
outfield.
player. Yeah, I gave you outfield because otherwise you start thinking of keepers. Big player, been around the block.
Oh, that's put me off.
Been around the block, playing some big international tournaments.
I've got a second guess. If you don't,
Well, you can second guess.
Ashley Young.
Now, you're not getting a point for it today, but it is Ashley Young. The versatile Ashley Young. If you just take your time more, you would have got it right. Yeah, Ashley Young. Yeah.
How old is he?
I'm not sure how old James Milner. I think he's 36 years. Ashley Young, 38 and 1 month. Was a big tournament for England. It's the penalty. That's Tom's teaser, okay? 0-0. Next time, don't freeze out, okay? Right. We've obviously got the quiz later. We're looking at that for. Maybe you might give him a challenge. Here we go. Right, the last subject we need to talk about is Jadon Sancho and Manchester United. What is going on at Manchester United at the moment, and what is going on with Jadon Sancho? For a player to speak out against the manager, I don't believe that would ever happen under Sir Alex Ferguson. However, I'd love to know your views on it both. Luke, I'll start with you this time. Let's just do Jadon Sancho. What are your thoughts of this situation?
It's hard to know without seeing what's going on in training, but kind of feel a bit sorry for him. As in, he's clearly had some mental health issues last season. I don't think that's to do with pressure or I don't know about playing for Man United. But the last thing you want is your manager, especially after you've lost. Ten Hag's clearly pretty pissed off, and then he's just gone and thrown Sancho under the bus when really United have been poor all season, and I think he's kind of, like he said, being given the scapegoat. He's acting as a scapegoat. Well, I don't think you can just put that onto one player like that. All you need to do is say, yeah, he's had a little niggling injury, he'd be back soon. Didn't need to do that. And I think now, especially we've gone on with Anthony, he's not coming back to United for a while. He's going to turn to Sancho now after all of this. So I don't think that seems they've got a pretty untenable relationship. So I don't know what's going to go on there. But I do feel a bit sorry for Sancho in this situation. I feel like he could have been kept under wraps, and that would make him perform better. Arm around the shoulder.
Has he tried that already?
Maybe he has tried already, but again, it's hard to see without knowing in training. But I just don't think he should ever air that in public, because now we're talking about it, where before no one would have said a thing about it. And
Okay, before I go with Jamie, I want to ask you some yes or no questions. Okay, will Jadon Sancho play for Manchester United ever again?
Yes.
Was Ten Hag right or wrong?
Either wrong.
You think he was wrong, so it wasn't yes. Yeah. Right, okay. And do you think that ever would have happened in the Sir Alex Ferguson days?
No.
No. Okay. Right, so let's come to you now on the Jadon Sancho. What do you think of that situation?
He's been poor, hasn't he, since he come? It's not his fault how much he's been signed for the fee. That always adds much more to it. But listen, I think I got here. He's 9 goals in almost 60 league games. That's pretty appalling. He put a winger who you expect to be contributing to goals. I know there's more to it than that, but there's no doubt about it. He hasn't met expectations, and there have been flop signings like Nicolas Pepe or whatever who've outperformed him. But for me, listen, I think there's two types of managers. There's a leader, a man manager, and there's a good coach. There are very few fall in between who are both. And I think Ten Hag is a good coach and a really bad man manager. And probably a bad manager in general. And that might sound strong, but look at the situation he found himself in. He spent, 200 million? And they've got into deadline day. Oh, we need a midfielder. Oh, we need another fullback. How do you spend 200 million and find yourself short and not enough depth in a squad like Manchester United? Because the thing is, you've got 200 million. That doesn't mean you have to go and sign 3 shiny players. Your squad depth is more important at times. You know, they cower to the Man United fans who say, "Oh, we want this signing, this signing." If you're a good manager, like Alex Ferguson was, you don't listen to the fans. You say, "I know what I need, and I'm going to sign. I don't care what they think. I need Ruud Veldbort this season." I was like, "I don't care." He did that last season out of necessity, but now he's being handed money. He's just shown he's cowered into the fans. And this is another thing about Sancho. He comes out and says it in public. What good does that do anyone? A good man manager keeps that under wraps. He takes it on the chin. Yes, questions are going to be asked of Ten Hag. Maybe he's afraid of it. That's his job. Take it on the chin. Say, maybe it's my fault that I'm not getting the best out of it. Yeah, it is. These good managers get the best out of players even when they're struggling. They turn things around. Like Salah last season. He's had a terrible first half of the season. Pop and call him out. And he's got more, he's got more hay in the barn, if you like. But, that's where a good manager puts his arm around him, gets the best out of him, takes responsibility that he's not performing. It is his responsibility for me. Ten Hag, if he's going to manage Manchester United, he has to get the best out of £70 million signing. And there's a reason he costs £70 million.
And another point on Ten Hag, he just seems to sign players that he's worked with before. That's not like Anthony. How 80 something million, maybe, or 100 million euros. He's performing as badly as Sancho personally for me. Every time I see it, he just does nothing. He doesn't have any pace, can't take on anyone. He works hard, but and now, as in with the situation he's in, what they can do now is he's pissed and woeful. He's got nowhere to hide now, and he can't just keep on blaming other people. Did well last season, but I think a big caveat on that was really good home form. Lost to 9 out of the 10 teams away, the top 10 teams away from home. Has done it again this season. Got to 2 finals because they played every single game at home against nobodies. I think, I watched them. I just don't think they're any good. And I know it's I'd say for a Chelsea fan, but I watched them and I don't know what they've got. I don't know what.
It's a lack of fight.
Yeah, but it's also planning, isn't it? I think when you look at Man United, what's their identity? What are they trying to do? You watch teams, well-drilled teams, you think, right, they're trying to do one-on-ones, about a box midfield, that isolate one-on-ones. You think, what are Man United about? Sounds like they did Bruno Fernandes up right. I personally don't think you'll see Jadon Sancho play for Manchester United again.
Really?
Where Ten Hag's there. I don't think you can from that. I don't think Ten Hag needs to have the dressing room. I think if he was to introduce him again, and also, is he going to produce those levels, really? He's been off it for a long time now. He's got 9 league goals. And he's got 12 goals and 82 appearances.
The talent is still there. He was, at youth level, the best player.
Really, he's always had complex personalities, and he falls out of play. He falls out of people. He doesn't work hard. There's that clip against Wolves when he come on, he didn't track his runner. He's just being lazy. I understand there's been some personal issues that obviously maybe have gone on and we don't find about in the media, which would help. But, yes, there's a player in there, but there's only a player there for so long. And you can't, at Man United, at the moment, they're already carrying enough players in that team. For Man United to still be having Wan-Bissaka, right? But they finished the game. Wan-Bissaka, they got Wan-Bissaka, Johnny Evans, Harry Maguire, the lot of left back, right? That was their back 4 that finished against Arsenal. That is absurdity. I can't believe it. Martial started. Ericsson. You were money. They've got this money, and they're signing players, or they're having players playing that are not Manchester United quality.
This is my point, right? You mentioned the lack of depth here, the quality of player they have. Why would you go and spend 60+ million on Højlund? Did they need him? how much did Brentford pay for Ivan Toney? How much did Villa pay for Ollie Watkins? These are all players who are just as good as Højlund. And yes, he might go on to be absolutely great. We can't say that at this stage. But would Man United be worse with Callum Wilson, Ivan Toney? Why not? Why does it have to be flashy? How can we say they have to have a flashy signing when they have Johnny Evans at the back?
No. I think everyone agree with you. I think Lou made a good point earlier that Klopp and Pep, they don't go for the players they previously worked for. Ten Hag is getting Martinez, Anthony. He wants to get Ajax. He wants that. This is not Ajax. This is, Manchester United.
That's true. Little manager who can just play. He knew he was doing well at Ajax. Ajax system's there from years and years and years. And he's obviously did very well with them, but then he's just thinking, right, I'm just going to do that again in the Premier League. But it doesn't work like that. You can't. It's a completely different ball game.
Tactically, they're getting found out. I think Lou's made the point. They only beat Fulham away from home last year. That was Garnacho just before the World Cup. They've already lost to Tottenham and they lost to Arsenal. Obviously, actually against Arsenal, I actually like the game plan. They're still weak. If the Garnacho scores, it's a different game. I know they call that VAR. But I know how they've seen that. That is so close. If they win that game, we may have a little bit of a different conversation. However, that's now 12 games they've played against big teams and they've lost them.
I still think the way they were playing in that game, it was just keeping possession for the sake of it. Yeah, it was just at the back. It was an arm just passing it 5 yards, passing it back to him. And okay, it kind of stifled Arsenal for a while, but is that how Man United play?
It's really short in the Premier League, right? It's not just tactical. You need that fight. And this is why when he came in last season, early in the season, they were destroyed in the first how many games? There's more to it. And this is where this is where the leadership thing from Ten Hag comes into question. They have to play with fight and goal, and they have to. This is what Arsenal are doing. It's no coincidence Arsenal winning games in the last couple of minutes. They got that fight, that determination. I just don't see that with United.
No, they are soft. They're spineless. So let me get a prediction. They're finished where this season? Manchester United will finish
6th, but it all depends if they keep Ten Hag.
That was going to be next question. 6th.
I still think they'll turn it around, but I think 6th as well.
You think 6th? Sack will keep? Will Ten Hag be at the end of the season?
No.
Really? I think he will.
I'll tell you why I think he will be. The Glazers are not going to sell Manchester United, and they can hide behind a bad manager. It takes the heat off them. If he's not doing well, they could keep him for a little bit, blame him. They reportedly want 10 billion, which is ludicrous. I think they'll hide behind it. So you go 6th.
I think the Champions League will have a lot to do with what they do with Ten Hag.
I think they'll finish 5th. I think because obviously you both think Chelsea, but Chelsea, we already know they're finishing 12th. I finished 5th. I think Højlund, that little half an hour cameo, actually gave me he was strong. He was strong. And actually having a player that could hold up, you were not forgetting here that their striker was Martial or Rashford was playing there. It's a different profile of player. He now can link Bruno. He can make defenses drop a little bit deeper. That one that Gabriel was that's a free kick. Anyone there else, maybe a penalty. That half an hour cameo was really impressive. Yes, they lack a little bit out wide, but I think that make the Champions League. And then last one, Jadon Sancho, do you think he'll play this season for United?
I think so. I think Ten Hag will, in a way, realise that it was a misstep. And I think they'll get this sorted. I think they'll come back in. Whether he'll be there long term, I don't know. But yeah, and like Louis said, out of necessity, because Anthony's out now, they can't rely on Garnacho. Well, they need some experience, quality, and he hasn't provided it yet. But I think he'll come back in.
And you also think he'll come back in, right?
Yeah, I think not even that in quite the near future.
I'm completely opposite. I think once you talk against the manager, you're almost losing the dressing room. And there's been leaks on ESPN. I read yesterday that the players have had enough of Sancho. I agree.
Saying from Man United, because it's all been leaked by them as a PR thing, trying to make Sancho look like the bad guy. And
right after the Greenwood thing,
right? They've been doing that. And Anthony, they've been trying to take them and then shove Sancho.
It's a mess, isn't it?
Yeah.
This whole Harry Maguire refusing to leave, this whole Saka refusing to leave last year is a mess. The glory days are a long way behind them, but they finished 3rd last year somehow, and they got a League Cup again somehow. And I agree, they're an easy draw. But what I see in this season, they should have lost to Wolves. They were lucky against Forest at home, and they've lost a 2-way game. So sorry, United fans, but let us know what you think. Ten Hag, it was in the right. You think both in the wrong. And Jadon Sancho, does he deserve? And also, does Jadon Sancho deserve to play for Manchester United? Obviously, we don't know what happened last year. I feel like there's a common theme here, but I think no, I don't think he's good enough. And I think you only have a certain amount of patience, and he needs to go out on loan somewhere or go somewhere. It's going to, like you said, maybe an arm around the shoulder, take the pressure off him. Maybe at Dortmund, maybe someone back in the Premier League, you can just play football. But let us know what you think, please, Man United fans, and where are you going to finish this season. So, before we get into the big quiz, you two, it's our £10 bets, okay? So, how this is going to work, we've got £10. Every week, we're going to have green or red. If you've made money or you lost money, you put £10 on a bet, and obviously we'll see if it made money. So, we'll start with you, Jamie, first if you want. You got your £10 bet. What are you going for? One team, an accumulator? What do you fancy?
I'm going safe this week.
Okay.
My strategy is just to build up a little bit of a net, little profit, and then we'll invest later on. You know, place things safe, plan the retirement fund. Get ahead of myself. Anyway, I'm going to go for Liverpool and Wolves. Both teams to score. Liverpool to win.
Ooh.
Liverpool have conceded in all but one of their games so far. Wolves have scored in all but one of their games so far. Liverpool a little bit shaky at the back, but they look strong up top. Wolves have shown a bit of fight under the new manager, I think. They lack quality for sure, but they've gone for it. They saw against Palace, losing 3-2. They're unlucky to lose against Manchester United. You know, the Palace one, you know, that was a real sign of fight from the team. That's what I like to see. Came back into it later on. Wasn't enough, of course. But, yeah, I think both teams to score. I think it's 13-8 with Sky Bet on the last time I looked, bet responsibly. But, yeah, I think it's just a safe little profit there. I think it's a short
14-8. So you're about 26, 25. Okay. So there's some interesting. There's no Virgil van Dijk. Scott Parker's got him going. It's a lunchtime game.
It is Saturday lunchtime game.
Ooh, lunchtime game. Never back the lunchtime game. You've gone for it. You've backed the lunchtime game. Okay, so you've got safe there. But if we're here next week and you've got a nice green profit next to your name, you'll be happy, right?
Play the long game, guys.
This is how you play it safe. Safe?
Not so safe, but
Okay.
not too bad. I'm going for in the West Ham and Man City game. I'm going draw at half time and Man City full time. 7-2.
7-2.
Yeah, I think West Ham, quite a lot of their games, they keep it tight, I know, and then they break out in the second half a bit, and Man City will just wear them down, I think, and then I think it'll be quite a comfortable 2-0 win, maybe 0-0 half-time, 2-0 home.
Without Man City, you could be saying this a lot this season, couldn't we? Every time I watch Man City, I'm like,
Hey, who's wearing down?
it's just it's like a box, wasn't it? Just constantly at you, ain't it? Yeah, and then when it was draw, it's so true. Against Sheffield United, though, I think Carl Walker was bored because he'd back here. And then they had to score in 5 minutes, and they looked so dangerous. Okay, so that returns me your 10 back, 45.
Yeah.
So 26, 25, I think it is, 45.
Mm-hmm.
Both pretty safe. But again, if you're both sitting there with greens, I like that bet. It's a good bet. But like you said earlier off air, that could be down in 2 minutes and Man City score. So I've got one of your games, but what I'm going to go for first, I think Brighton will beat Manchester United away from home, and that's 2-1. I've gone for a double. I've gone for it this week, so I've got a double. Manchester United lost one game at home last season, and it was to Brighton. I also think just with the whole, just the media around Man United at the moment, this is a perfect time to play them, and if they've got Johnny Evans or Maguire starting, this is fantastic. And obviously, there's just so much going on at Manchester United at the moment. I know Mason Mount will be injured, and this is just, you need to pick a fixture now. We'll pick a time. Give me Manchester United at Old Trafford. And Brighton should be flying. I know we've got some players international. But that's my game. 2-1. And I'm going to back that with, I think West Ham will get a result against Man City. West Ham have really impressed me. They beat Brighton, they beat Chelsea, and they're not fun to watch, right? They're 22% possession against us. But the stats tell me Man City can see a lot of headers. Ward-Prowse puts that ball on a coin. It's what he's doing. 3 assists in 2 games, incredible, and a goal against us as well. And I just think Antonio or maybe a Zuma header. Yeah, I just think I could actually see West Ham going 1-0 up, really stifling Man City, getting frustrated, and actually Antonio on the break at the moment. Antonio looks at it, and Bowen, that goal he scored. So I really actually, Man City will have to drop at some point. They will have to lose or draw. And I think first game back, it's Saturday, it's 3 o'clock, it's not televised, 3 o'clock in England, 4 o'clock Spain, not televised, sort of game, I could see 1-1, I wouldn't be surprised. And West Ham are flying. Started the season exceptionally well. Who would have thought that? You know, lost Declan Rice, and they've kicked on, and Moyes has gone back to basics with Antonio up front. He does, doesn't he? Let's be honest. He's got Antonio up front, Ward-Prowse on deliveries. We played against them. What a horrible team to play against. I know
It works.
Yeah, like they should have done that last year. They're back to it. So I'm going double. That's 12.8. Returns 128 plus 10, 138. So I'm going to be sitting here. Well, 138 profit, I reckon.
It's crispy. One question. Your man, Evan Ferguson, is he fit? Do we know?
I believe he's fit, yeah. So basically, you've got a knock against Newcastle.
Not so he can play for England.
He's never played for England. But I think he's one of those where they want to risk it, which is a surprise because obviously Ireland lost to France
Done with him.
and lost to Netherlands, didn't they? They could have done with him. However, international football, if you've got a knock at club level, they don't try and risk them. It's not, unfortunately, worth it. Great player. And maybe we'll see Fatty as well. But that's my double. It's a risky double. If you want to be safe during these two, you want to go aggressive, go for me. But like I say, bet responsibly. But that's our £10 bet. And then we'll update -10 or plus whatever we make each week. Let's just hope one of us wins, right? Because it'd be a bit embarrassing.
Season.
If we're going -10, -20, -30.
And change the name.
Yeah. Best bets, no hopers. Right, so now it's time to finish. This is what I'm excited for, okay? Now I'm going to do this freehand. I've got all 5 questions in my head, okay? So how this will work, I have 5 questions. You can draw because I haven't got a tiebreaker, okay? So if you don't know one, now, simple like earlier, if you jump on the answer, get it right, perfect. Get it wrong, frozen out, okay? And that's what we don't do. Okay, first question. This is pressure, okay? Best of 5, okay? This is big. This is your man, because they're reigning champion. But you've shown promise.
I'm taking.
So, and obviously, if you're watching at home, get involved. You want to pause after each question, or you want to play along, see if you can beat these two, and let us know. You know, one day we'll have a special guest in here who maybe could take you two on. Right. First question. I'm going to start with an easy one, okay? Get us going. Get a point on the board. Welcome Luton to the Premier League, who might get the worst ever points. Can you name their manager?
Yes.
Rob Edwards.
Go
That's it.
Welch as well.
Yeah.
What actually?
1-0.
I don't know what. Wait,
James saying yes. Get the answer now. Rob Edwards. Good.
You're ready.
I was going to ask their captain, but I thought, well, I'm a bit too hard. Go on for okay, 1-0. Good start. Out the blocks. Jamie.
I'm happy now.
Yeah. You got the point. Yeah.
Let's play West Ham from here. Long ball.
Okay, next question. Last season, which team were bottom on Christmas Day but survived?
Everton.
Incorrect version.
It was
Bottom but survived Christmas Day. Can I give you 15 seconds?
okay.
Again, if you want to play at home, pause it. You want a bit more time.
I don't think it wasn't Wolves.
Bournemouth. Incorrect.
Was it for?
Answer was Wolves.
Oh my God!
It was Wolves. So you should have gone for Wolves. You didn't. Stays 1-0.
I thought Wolves were doing quite well at the start, and then they
Right. Stays 1-0. This is huge, isn't it? Okay. 3 questions left. Which one shall I go for to really get going? Okay, let's go with this one. The Premier League this season, I believe there will be an insane amount of goals because we have some poor teams. But can you tell me which team has scored the most goals this season?
me, West Ham.
West Ham? Frozen out. This is your chance to go 2-0 up. We've only 2 questions. This is your chance.
Oh. I don't know if I'll go out to the box. If I think Palace.
Crystal Palace. Incorrect. Now, Man City, 11 goals. Tottenham, 11 goals. But one team of 12 goals. I'm not going to give you the answer, but do you know who it is?
Yeah. It's Brighton.
Brighton. It's Mauricio. You should have known who was going to win there. 12 goals. So 1-0, 2 goals left, okay? But now you're sort of goal play. You're not dormy, but if you get one of these right, you're in, okay? Right. Last season, someone broke and equaled a record. 10 headers record and scored in 26 games. Harry Kane. 1-1. Big. Okay, this is again 1-1. Here we go. This is a question that you all probably should know again. Okay. Right.
Let's go.
This is big. I just feel the pressure myself, mate. You too. Right. This is big. You want this. You do not want to be losing 1-0 series. Okay. We all know it was the anniversary recently, but we all know what happens. The Gerrard infamous slip. But who scored that goal?
Oh, Demba Ba. Oh, full name.
Demba Ba.
Full name.
2-1. Demba Ba.
Oh.
In lockdown, when we were doing these quizzes, I spoke to Gail Clichy. At the time, he was playing with him in Turkey. And I said to him, and he played with Martin Scarf as well. And I was like, do you talk about that much? Apparently, all the time. Demba Ba just mentions it.
I was there.
All the time. Yeah.
Should have said who scored the second goal.
William, get me in the quiz. Right, if you think you can beat these two, let us know. Special guest, how did you get on the quiz? Louis, nice 2-1 win there. That was a nice little first episode. If you haven't, please subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing the quiz every week. And we'll get more juicy topics for you. Best bets, obviously. See, we're probably retired next week, no? I think we're retiring. We're probably going to record next week on a yacht, I would have thought, because we've made so much money. And obviously, we've made some bold predictions. You know, I think you two are going Chelsea 5th.
So the 12th.
Yeah, we're now going to go to the pharmacy, make sure these two are okay after thinking Chelsea are going to finish 5th. But a massive thanks for watching. We'll see you next week and take care. Please subscribe.